in a city where tradition rules, in a kingdom where love is forbidden. A young king must choose between a crown of gold and the woman who stole his heart with a single glance. This is the love story they tried to stop. The ancient, rust-colored city of Ibadan had not seen a coronation like his in generations. The air itself thrummed with the beat of the bata drums, thick with the scent of suya smoke and the vibrant hues of osso oak. From the heart of this maelstrom of tradition, newly crowned King Ademola Oluwaskin, a young man of humble origins thrust onto the throne by ancestral providence, scanned the sea of faces. His gaze, meant to bestow grace upon his subjects, snagged on a solitary, sun-kissed face in the crowd. She was a vision from a different world. Andrea, a Romanian architect with a passion for lost cultures, had traveled across continents to witness the splendor of his coronation. In that single, electric moment, the weight of the beaded crown, the sacred Ademola, felt heavier than the world. The man his university friends had dubbed the ultimate lover boy, who had always jested about finding his queen in the snows of Europe, felt a familiar, forbidden thrill. The bee of love had stung the king, and the venom was sweet. Under the guise of educating an esteemed foreign guest, he summoned her to the palace. What began as a lesson on the history of the Ibadan warrior chiefs quickly dissolved into whispered conversations about life, dreams, and the strange paths of fate. A communication line, fragile and secret, was opened. A love affair as dangerous as it was intoxicating was born. It came as no surprise to the palace gossips when His Royal Highness announced his first foreign trip would be to Romania, a land with no historical ties to the kingdom. The Elder Council, led by the stern Chief Awijo, voiced their disapproval in low, rumbling tones. A king does not chase shadows across the sea, Kabiyesi, Awijo had warned, his voice like grinding stones. The throne is your anchor. Your heart must belong to the people. But Ademola's heart was no longer his to command. It belonged to the memory of Andrea's laugh, to the way her eyes held his without the weight of deference. In the frost-kissed Carpathian mountains of Romania, far from the watchful eyes of Ibadan, he was not a king. He was simply a man, desperately in love. He walked with her through Bucharest's old town, held her hand in the snow, and in a small, warm apartment filled with the scent of mamalaga and wood fire, he made a choice. The romantic fire in his soul proved fiercer than the cold duty of the crown. He returned to Ibadan, a changed man. The council was waiting. The air in the sacred chamber was thick with censure and the scent of old wood. Kabiyesi, Chief Awijo began, his voice trembling with a mixture of anger and fear. You have dipped the sacred crown in muddy waters. You have brought a woman, an Oyinbo, into our inner circles, not as a guest, but as a distraction. This is a taboo. The ancestors are restless. The people are whispering. Ademola stood tall, the royal beads around his neck feeling like a noose. I have done nothing but follow my heart, Chief. Must a king be a prisoner? You are the custodian of a 1,000-year-old legacy, another elder snapped. You are the soul of this land, not a university boy chasing skirts. You will end this affair, or you will risk the throne and the crown. The land will not be ruled by a heart that belongs elsewhere. A silent war was declared within the palace walls. But Ademola was a warrior in love. Andrea, whom he had secretly brought back with him, was lodged in a discreet hotel on the outskirts of the city. Their meetings became clandestine missions of the heart. Under the cover of darkness, he would shed his royal robes for simple ibada and slip away from the palace, his royal guards looking the other way, their loyalty torn between tradition and their king's palpable anguish. Their love nest was a small, anonymous room that held the universe for them. There, he was Ademola, the graduate, the dreamer, the man who made Andrea's eyes sparkle. She would trace the lines of his palms, no longer seeing a king's destiny, but a man's future. They want to tear us apart, she would whisper, her voice laced with fear. And they will fail, he would reply, pulling her close, the scent of her perfume a stark contrast to the palace's earthy incense. A throne is made of wood and gold. What I feel for you is made of starlight and soul. It cannot be broken. But the pressure was a relentless tide. The whispers in the market grew into murmurs, then into open discontent. Pamphlets began to appear, questioning the king's judgment. The once adoring subjects now looked at him with doubt in their eyes. The weight of their disappointment was a heavier crown than any he had ever worn. The final confrontation came on a night thick with a threat of rain. Chief Awojo and the entire council stood before him in his private chambers. No longer pleading, they were stating a grim fact. "The land is sick, Kabayisi," Awojo said, his eyes filled with a sorrow that struck Ademola deeper than any anger could. "The crops will fail. The rains will not come. The people believe your actions have brought a curse upon us. You have until the new moon. Renounce this foreign love, perform the rites of cleansing, and reaffirm your soul to the throne. Or you must let the crown go, for the sake of Ibadan." That night, Ademola did not go to the hotel. He stood on his balcony, looking over the sprawling, sleeping city he was sworn to protect. He saw the lights of the hotel twinkling in the distance, a beacon to his heart. Then he looked down at the ancient palace walls, the symbols of a legacy he was chosen to uphold. He was torn between two sacred duties, one to his people and one to his heart. He thought of Andrea, of her courage in leaving her world for his, of the life they could build together, free from the gilded cage of tradition. He thought of the prophecy that had named him king, a destiny he never asked for. And he knew, with a devastating, beautiful clarity, that to be the king Ibadan needed, he would have to destroy the man he had become. The next morning, as the sun rose over the ancient hills, King Ademola Oluwaskin walked into the council chamber for the last time. He was not wearing his royal regalia, but a simple white outfit. In his hands, he carried the heavy, beaded Ade Elite. The elders watched, their faces a canvas of shock and grim resignation. He did not speak of betrayal or of pressure. His voice was quiet, but it echoed in the silent room. "A king must have a heart for his people," he said, his gaze steady on Chief Awojo. "But a heart that is forced is no heart at all. Mine is no longer here." With a reverence that brought tears to the eyes of the sternest elder, he placed the crown gently on the throne. The sound of the beads against the ancient wood was the sound of a dream ending and another beginning. He had given up a kingdom, but in doing so, he had chosen to claim the one thing that made him truly powerful, the freedom to love. He walked out of the palace gates, not as a king in exile, but as a man finally coming home. And waiting for him, just beyond the threshold of his old life, was Andrea. Her hand found his, and together, they walked away from the throne, clinging to a love that was stronger than any crown. Thank you for listening. For more strange love stories in unconventional places, do well to subscribe to the channel. It is free.